Their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
He's a pest. That's kind of a classless move. If you're going to talk to my face.
Oh, man. Judd says that to people who criticize him on social media, too.
Those like our Twitter interactions between a lot of other people.
In the hallway.
That's Declan with wild Twitter sometimes.
Yes.
Arguing with wild bloggers.
That's
you want to talk mess?
Perfect.
Talk mess to my face.
You want to talk mess about Kevin Fiala? Please come see it to my face.
All right, that was amazing. Twins lost that game last night, and that's fine. We can do a full breakdown on what happened there. But two things came out of last night's game that we should discuss here on Talkin' Twins with Mackey and Judd, powered by our friends at Dennis Kirk. It's riding season. If you are, maybe you're Josh Donaldson and you're looking to ride away from the up and in fastballs you're likely to see the next time you face White Sox pitching, then I'd hop on a Harley. I'd hop on some kind of a sport bike, whatever it is that you ride. Dennis Kirk has you covered with over 160,000 parts and accessories in stock. And the cool part is if you order by 8 p.m., they ship the same day, and shipping is free for orders over $89. DennisKirk.com. They ship today. All right, who in this sort of war back and forth? So Josh Donaldson hits a bomb on like the fourth pitch of the game off Lucas Giolito. He crosses home plate, and there's a bunch of hidden camera footage of him clapping his hands together as he crosses home plate, saying something like, "It's not sticky anymore. It's not sticky anymore." And he's like got his hands kind of glummed together. Mm-hmm. And apparently Giolito caught wind of this after the game, and that was his reaction, just trashing Josh Donaldson completely. So who do you side with here? Do you think Giolito has the right to be offended that Donaldson clapped him sort of passive-aggressively going back to the dugout? Or is Josh Donaldson correct to just take victory laps all over Major League pitchers who used to use sticky substances?
All right. If the Twins were a good team, I probably would find this amusing and not care one bit.
A blast.
But when your team is...
if this was a first-place battle, that would have been amazing last night.
But I'd probably come on here. If this was a first-place team and Josh was having a great year, I'd probably come on here and praise him and say, this is fantastic. But the reality is they're a terrible team. And they had a 2-0 lead, which you knew was in peril immediately, right? And for Donaldson to pull that crap, it to me is just, what are you doing? Like, know the time and place. Have some common sense. What are you doing there? It makes absolutely no sense. So I side with Giolito here because of the circumstance.
Wow.
If the circumstance were different, I'd go with Josh.
Who's the White Sox fan on the show now? I thought I was the White Sox fan all season. Now I got Lucas Giolito being backed up.
Yeah, easy Hawk Harrelson. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
What's Donaldson
You can
doing?
put it on the board.
Your team's crappy. It's embarrassing. Don't pull that stunt if your team is crappy.
I got to pump your brakes, Judd. Declan can be the tiebreaker here because now where I will agree is there's a little bit of like, all right, you guys are 12 games back. Let's calm down a little bit with the taunting. I can sort of see that argument. Look at the scoreboard. But the degree to which pitchers get offended by hitters either taking them deep or trash talking, it's like, pitchers, you guys have spent the last 2 or 3 years, not all of you, but a large chunk of you have spent the last 2 or 3 years finding these like black market substances, hiding them on your gloves, on your body, on the inside of your belt, the underside of your cap, and you've been dominating hitters with illegal sticky substances. And so I think hitters deserve to take a couple victory laps here over the last couple of weeks and get the last word here. But like, look at every other sport. There's gamesmanship. One guy gets the best of another guy. Like the NBA playoffs every night. Like Patrick Beverley is one of the most like insufferable, like heel villainous players, right? I mean, he commits a flagrant foul on Chris Paul a couple nights ago. He undercuts his legs. It was kind of controversial because it looked like he was just going through a screen, but like he undercut Chris Paul's legs. Chris Paul, who's like 50 years old, falls and bounces like twice off the floor and looks like he's dead, right? Patrick Beverley steps over his dead body and does like a mocking celebration of like, he does like Chris Paul, right? And the fans got into it. Did Chris Paul turn around and call him like, he's a classless pest after the game? No, Chris Paul got up, knocked down 3 free throws, went right back at Patrick Beverly, and they go at each other.
But those
Major League Baseball, it's like pitchers get so offended by the dumbest things. It drives me nuts.
But those are 2 playoff teams. I love that. What I'm saying is Donaldson has no sense of time or place. What are you doing? Your team stinks. You're on a bad team. Your team's an embarrassment. Keep your mouth shut and start.
Don't you want him to show a little fight? Don't you like someone showing a pulse on this team for the first time in 3 months?
I do, but not in that way. Not when it's 2-0 in the top of the first. Giolito's good, so you're going to tick him off? That's a great idea.
He used to be good before the sticky stuff
got
taken away.
And by the way, your starter stinks, and you know that. I mean, Kenta Maeda is what the hell's happened there? So
I think we know what happened. We'll get to that.
I think we know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. And that's another talker. That's a great one because I think Rock has lost his mind. But anyway, I love it if it's in the right circumstance. But my God, I mean, come on. You are
all right, Declan. Break the tie here.
No, I'm Team Donaldson here all the way. It'd be one if Jake Cave did that, we have a problem. We have a massive problem if Jake Cave,
if Rob Refsnyder came up.
If Ryan Jeffers has the authority to try to do something like that, then we got some issues, and I'll side with Judge Zolgat. But you're talking about Josh Donaldson, a fiery dude, and when they signed him, this was the kind of guy I wanted on this team. I understand it's frustrating them being in 4th place and them being a bleeping disaster, and we've written them off already on June 30th. But this was the exact kind of player the Twins have needed. I believe I don't know who it was. I think it was a Sports Illustrated piece. It might have been before this season or before 2020. But the quote was, Josh Donaldson is an asshole, and the Twins need an asshole on that team. And that's Josh Donaldson. And I know he had the closed door meeting, and maybe it sparked something. Who knows? Obviously, they lost again last night. Probably didn't do anything. But I love that demeanor, not just on the Twins, but in Minnesota sports, because we don't have that here, and I love that.
And to that point, and then I know Judd will disagree with this, and you'll get your time here too. But I think when you sign Josh Donaldson, you know exactly what you're signing. And I'm kind of surprised that more of this didn't happen last year, but I think some of it is there were no fans in the stadium, and so when you're a hitter and you hit a bomb off a guy like that, and you're in front of the opposing crowd, and he's a heel personality, that crowd and that environment draws that side of his personality out even more. And so I don't think you can celebrate his personality and the different layer that he adds when the Twins sign him and then be picky and choosy about when he chooses to display it. Would this have been more fun, and would it have just been maybe a better situation if the Twins were 2 games back and boom, a 2-run homer puts them. Boy, if we can hold on to this lead, now we're going to be 1 game back and we're headed into July. Yes, but I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, sorry, Josh, you got to pick and choose the places where you're cocky and brash and chirping at the opposing team."
I find this team to be despicable. They're despicable beyond.
Well, I do too.
Believe I don't like them. I don't like them. They are the Wild 3 years back, and the braggadocios that we get from them now is all not sincere. They're not good. They're a joke as far as I'm concerned. They were supposed to be good. One of the biggest disappointments in Minnesota sports history, as far as I'm concerned, as far as expectations. And so, I just can't, when it's 2-0 and you hit a home run and in the back of your mind, we're going to blow this probably because we stink. I have a problem with acting like, we got you. It's well, no, you actually didn't. And you know what? Win the game then. Win the damn game. So, if you won the game, I would not come on here and say this, but win the game. Don't have Maeda go out there and absolutely choke, and then we'll get to what was said about that, which to me was absolutely bizarre. But, win the game 5-3.
Yeah,
that's cool. And then celebrate all you want in Giolito's face, and be your a pest, as Giolito said, of yourself. That's all great, but that's my problem. I mean that's always been my line in the sand, and it's what drove me crazy about the Wild, which was we're going to rally now. Now we're engaged. Now we're going to do this. And I think my thing with Josh, because get what you guys are saying, and I don't disagree at all. Like, I do like the fire, but I think my thing with Josh too, and what just makes this team so despicable and despisable to me is Sunday. Now we got to bear down. Okay, boys, close the locker room, close the clubhouse doors. I got something to say. Now we got to bear down. What? You just played 2 months of basically bad teams and you're in last place and now you got to bear down. You don't have the ability to bear down. So this to me is a breaking point where I'm just disgusted.
All right. You know what helps me cope with bad Twins baseball? Beer. And I'll tell you what, at Score North here, we are presenting the 2021 Growler and Crowler Tour Card, showcasing some of the best craft breweries in the state of Minnesota. Get a Growler card from Invictus Brewery in Beaver Island, Crowlers from Lupulin Brewing, Lift Bridge Brewery, all kinds of amazing, Boom Island, Mankato Brewery. Go to TwinCitiesSavers.com/Twin Cities Brewery Tour. TwinCitiesSavers.com/Twin Cities Brewery Tour.
Did you say Lift Bridge?
Oh yeah.
Let me give you a little.
Also,
for those of you
working from
is
home.
it Schrammhaus Brewery too? All kinds of good stuff.
Judd's working from home today. I wonder what's in that coffee cup. It might be some Lift Bridge. Maybe
There was some beer last night.
There
was some beer enjoyed.
All right. So last night, Kenta Maeda, who finished second in Cy Young Award voting, he walked 5 or 6 guys. He was like, every outing has been the same basically, where he just can't find his command. I don't know if he's less than 100%, but there's a lot of questions about why is he not as good as he was last year. This is basically the worst year of his career, and if you're making a pie chart of the reasons why the Twins aren't a good baseball team, there's a lot of slices to be doled out, but he's definitely a big chunk of that pie, right? And so somebody last night on the post-game Zoom press conference asked Rocco Baldelli, I think it was Marnie Gellner, hey, he again seemed to have trouble with his command. What pun intended here? Can you put your finger on maybe what the problem is? Let's listen to Rocco's answer here.
Things that I can probably look at, the humidity and the sweating related to everything that's kind of been going on in the game, and some guys having an inability to feel the ball with that continual perspiration showing up. I think was a little bit of a challenge. I think that was at least part of what was going on tonight. It was an extraordinarily humid night.
Did he basically just say, so he said with everything that's going on in the game and how some guys can't get a feel for the baseball.
Don't sugarcoat
Did
it.
he basically just say that Kenta Maeda used to be using sticky stuff and now he's not? Right?
He just said,
that's what he said.
He just said Kenta cheated and now he can't cheat, and it was humid and his fingers were wet and he couldn't control the baseball. Yes, that's 1,000% what he said. I actually recorded that and sent it to you guys and Royce because, one, I was astounded. Rocco ordinarily says almost nothing. Like, he says a lot of words, and it doesn't make him a bad guy, but he says nothing. And now he just came out and essentially said baseball's crackdown cost my guy. I was absolutely floored. This might be one of the most surprising things in his time here that I've heard. Heck, it might be the most surprising thing I've heard him say.
Does he ever... So I think, in my world, if that were me at that press conference, and again, I just, can't win a baseball game that I need to win to stay relevant, and I'm 12 games below 500, and my ace starting pitcher once again walks the entire stadium, I think my short answer would have been, he just wasn't good. He didn't have great command, and we just haven't been good as a staff all season for the most part, outside of Berrios. Why can't he just get to the point and say what's real? Is he worried about offending the guys in the clubhouse? I mean, Ron Gardenhire had some flaws, but Ron Gardenhire would push buttons and would call guys out as needed. And I think, after a while it stopped working. But he would know sort of when to say, all right, I'm going to publicly air some of these guys out because I need to send a message to that clubhouse. Rocco it doesn't seem like Rocco likes to cross that line. He wants to make sure that he's defending all of his guys at all times to the media and the public.
If Rocco's going to rip you, he says things like, we should have done this. He rarely identifies the player. That ball should have gone to second base or something like that. And he won't call guys out in particular. But in this case, I would argue, I think if I were advising Rocco, that he actually did Maeda more harm here than good, because he's essentially saying he cheated and now he couldn't cheat. And oh my God, if you can't cheat, how can you throw a strike?
Yeah.
Which if I'm the veteran pitcher, Maeda in this case, I think I'd much prefer to hear something along the lines of, yeah, we expect more. So this one really surprised me, that a manager would essentially come out and say, sticky stuff's gone. I guess he's not as good, which is what I hear. Seriously, that's what I hear.
Also, I don't think he would have a ton of value right now because he's just like not a good starting pitcher. But I remember we floated his name as a possible trade candidate like 6 or 7 weeks ago. Like right when the wheels were off the wagon, it was like early May, and we on this show just said, all right, we know where this is headed. Let's start diving into some of these trade discussions. And I remember the name Kenta Maeda got floated here on the show and on social media, and it was kind of laughed at. Like, what? It's a super team-friendly contract, $3 million a year. Yeah, but he's like 33, right? 33, going to be 34. Does he really fit? And I know that, again, where are you going to find a guy for $3 or $4 million
exactly
at any age that's going to at least be in your rotation? So, like, that's the reason why you'd hang on to him. But does he really fit into your 3-year window coming up? So I guess if there was a team that thought, like if he had a couple good outings and a team wanted to give me something of substance here before the trade deadline, like if he could find a feel for the baseball, however that would work out for him without getting suspended for 10 games, if he could figure something out for like 2 starts and show teams, all right, I've got this thing going in the right direction for the rest of the year, and somebody wanted to offer me like a top 10 organizational prospect, I would listen on him for sure, even with the team-friendly contract.
Didn't Rocco also just basically encourage the umps to check Kenta next time? Like, he had a bad start.
But don't they check? I mean, they checked him last night.
I mean I guess I'm saying to more thoroughly vet the process next time.
Sounds like he doesn't have anything to hide. It sounds like he needs something.
But he does need something. That's my point, is he might say, screw it, I'm going to try and put something in a different place.
He's an honorable guy. He's a more honorable guy than our guy Hector Santiago. For sure.
Which, by the way, Hector, give it up. This appeal thing's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're a nobody. Like Phil said, we didn't know that you were pitching.
Well, Scott Service, the manager, has come out and said, yeah, I mean, he only had he's like defending him, saying he only had rosin.
Just release him. Who cares?
Right.
But
he's actually been pretty good, I think.
I was just surprised that Rocco said that. Like, that's the last thing. And to me, that's also clearly a sign of the desperation here. Because they keep, like, there's this notion, oh man, if you know what, they just beat Cleveland 2-3. What if we keep hearing that. And I don't think it's just from the bloggers. I think it's from, like, the team thinks that. It's like, no, sorry guys, you're done.
Listen,
the season's over. Just accept it.
I get it. Like the team, if you're the manager and you're the players, like, yeah, you're going to try and win as many games as possible. Sure. But like these stories that come out, and Declan's got one of them here that we'll get to in a second. But like these stories that keep coming out about, oh, the Twins just want to see on this next homestand. The front office just needs to see them now against 9 straight divisional opponents. It's like, what?
Right.
What? Exactly. Like, are you? I mean, they'd literally have to roll off like 9 consecutive wins just to pull within like 3 games of 500. And then maybe, if they rolled off 9 straight wins and both the White Sox and Cleveland also lost 9 straight games, which isn't going to happen, they'd still be 3 games out of first place going into the All-Star break. So.
And it's like, because, now they're competing with the Tigers and Royals. Well, good for you. You all stink. Like, this is not something to be proud of. Oh, now they're really, they were entering the game on Tuesday in 3rd place in the American League Central. Yeah, you know why? Because the Royals and Tigers are a joke too.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely disagree on the Josh Donaldson thing today, but the thing that we agree on is this team doesn't deserve. This is, you said it right. This is one of the most underwhelming, disappointing failure seasons in Minnesota sports history when you consider where this thing was at off season, where people thought it was going to be like 90 plus wins. All the projection sites, Vegas, like everyone thought this team was going to be at the very least like fighting to win the division, and then at most maybe competing for a World Series. And so it's hard for me. I'm with you. It's hard for me to sit here and be like, oh, 3 months into this disaster, well, maybe if they can just beat Chicago twice here. It's like, screw you guys. You can't play the way you did in April and May and just be that dead ass and then expect people to just like be all in and on board 3 months later. So I don't know. Maybe that's too pessimistic. What is the latest on trade rumors, Declan?
All right, so this comes from I would say like what, the closest thing to the Adam Schefter, the godfather of MLB reporters, and Jeff Passan. Like, Jeff Passan's a pretty plugged in dude, right?
He's the number one guy right now.
Ken
I
Rosenthal's
think he's
obviously a
number
vet, and but Jeff Passan's like this up and coming guy. So
I don't know how
he's
it
up
works
there.
when like the passing of the torch happens among each sports insider. Like when Adam Schefter basically took the torch away from like John Clayton and Chris Mortensen like 10 years ago. At some point, Woj came in and took the torch from like Mark Stein, right? And now Shams is vying for the torch. Jeff Passan came in at some point in the last couple of years, and I don't know if he had to go in with like a ski mask into like the Baseball Insider condo, but he took the torch from Ken Rosenthal and probably from Buster Olney. I think those were the two guys. It's Jeff Passan's world now. Yeah. For sure.
Yep, there's Stella, and that's Stella barking in the background, or is that the other neighbor
No,
dog?
that's Phil's.
No,
That's Phil's
I like
dog.
to have the
Stella
windows gotta
is,
eat.
Stella
I like to
is
have the-
Big dog's
barking
gotta eat.
quite a bit, though. Full
Yeah, I get it.
disclosure. She's mad about Donaldson. She's mad about the Twins. You lost a lot of cash last night in the Bucks.
Well, the bloggers, the dogs aren't gonna like this 9-1 from Jeff Passan. So he said, which teams will be fielding calls from those interested in adding this summer at the trade deadline? And he said the clear ones, according to Major League sources: Arizona, Baltimore, Colorado, Detroit, Miami, Pittsburgh, Texas. But the team almost every contender is waiting on, the Minnesota Twins. Who you want, they've got. And Passan goes into great detail on Jose Berrios, Nelson Cruz, obviously the pending free agents in Hansel Robles, Andrelton Simmons, etc. But this nugget on Berrios, I think, is really important. He says, outside of the Nationals making Max Scherzer available, the Twins' Jose Berrios looks like the best pitcher on the market. And then he goes into detail why he's under control, who could trade for him, the Mets maybe, also even the Chicago White Sox could possibly have interest. But this line on Berrios, that's the beauty of Berrios. If he's out there and an increasing number of executives believe Minnesota will deal him, his market is everyone.
And
Reckless speculation.
And this is how, at the deadline, there's just fewer available arms than there would be in the offseason when you have free agency and trade avenues, and then like more teams are looking. There's just more options. But at the deadline, you have maybe 4 or 5 viable like playoff rotation starters that are going to be available for trade. And whoever the best one is, some years the best one is Justin Verlander, and he's a Hall of Famer. And some years the best one is like a Max Scherzer or whoever, and he's a Hall of Famer. But some years, like a couple years ago, 2019, who was the guy from the Blue Jays again? We brought his name up yesterday.
Marcus
Stroman. Marcus Stroman was the best guy available, and then Zach Greinke became available too. But if Jose Berrios, it doesn't matter if he's Justin Verlander or not. If he's the best pitcher available, and he's got a year and a half of team control, and a team thinks he could be like their number 2 starter in the playoffs, the Blue Jays, for instance, right? You could get a haul for him. There's going to be a bidding war for him. So just sort of piecing this all together, too, because we first started seeing these reports about the Twins teetering on the verge of selling like a month and a half ago, probably going back to like middle of May, right? And it seemed like a lot of leaks coming from teams that were talking to the Twins, getting a feel for things, John Morosi, Heyman, etc. So my guess is the Twins have been talking about trades for like a month and a half, and teams are now getting a little frustrated with them. It sounds like they've had ongoing discussions. All right, whenever you guys are ready. Yep, definitely. Like, here are the players that are going to be available. And every week goes by, and it's like, oh, we just need to see one more series. Oh, we just want to see what happens when we play the White Sox. Oh, we got Cleveland coming up. Let's see if we can take 2 or 3 from Cleveland again, right? And this report from Passan makes it sound like teams are just getting impatient. Like, guys, accept your fate. It's over. Give us Nelson Cruz. Give us Jose Berrios. Give us Taylor Rogers so that we can make a run for the playoffs.
I get walking Berrios up to the deadline. Like, I totally get that, because if you create more and more of a potential bidding war between teams, that makes sense. What I don't get is why you aren't starting to peel off pieces now, though, right? Again, do you know who's not playing enough? Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon should be playing. Like, find out. He was a first-round draft pick. He was considered a pretty big-time prospect at one time. Andrelton Simmons, I'll continue to bang the drum on this, makes no sense on this roster. He makes some great plays. You know what? It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Polanco can go play shortstop. Nelson Cruz, You can trade him. He just had a great June. He just had a fantastic June.
It sucks,
So
yeah.
I get the Berrios one. But what I don't get is to what Declan read from Passan, why you're like holding all of these guys hostage on this awful baseball team until July 30th.
I'll tell you another guy that maybe they'll decide they don't want to start his clock, but Jose Miranda just went
dude.
5 for 5 with 3 bombs, including a grand slam in his AAA debut last night.
Yes.
He's been one of the best hitters across the minor leagues all season. He's an
Not
infielder.
ready yet. He's not ready yet. I saw the
And-
highlights. I saw okay, here's the thing. His work in the on deck circle is awful right now. Like the pine tar application's not right. Like you can't do this. Kid can't be in the big leagues until they work with what he does on deck. I'm sorry.
Also, I mean, I know that he mostly just hits bombs, but like when he does, on the rare occasion where he singles, his secondary leads at first base. He's not getting great jumps off the bat. Got to work on those things.
Thought the same thing.
Yeah, so gonna have to. I would say probably another for sure year and a half in the minor leagues just to iron out some of that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Even Josh Winder, the organization's number 12 prospect, he was just promoted to AAA today, and he'll also represent the Twins. Just came down at the Futures game as well, so he'll be the lone representative for the Twins. But now he's one step away. He has a 1.9 ERA in 10 starts at AA this year.
Yeah,
Yes.
there it is. All right. I think Miranda. I think third base is the position
That's what
he's
Doogie
most
said he
comfortable
thinks.
at.
Yep.
So that
he
might
played-
be even more inspiration for the Twins to move off that Josh Donaldson contract.
I believe he was playing first base at his last stop, but he's expected to play third base, which, by the way, is fine. And you know what? Again, if you could trade Josh, trade Josh.
Yeah. So all right, that's talking Twins.
Passan coming down with that's interesting.
Passan.
Yeah, Passan doing this is the final step. Like it passes through Pete. No pun intended. It
We're at the
passes
legislature.
through.
Morosi's like the first
It's
line of like reporter.
Heyman.
Yep.
Through the House to the Senate. Now it's literally it's at the governor's door. We
It's about
started
to
it at
be-
the House. We had it at the House. We drew it up.
The bill's about to be
Passan's sitting in
stamped.
the MLB reporter's Oval Office, and he just has to sign the bill.
Executive
Jose Berrios
powers
will
are about to be
traded.
signed. Just
All right, let's collect ourselves here so we can gear up mentally for some write that down predictions and an accountability session. Mackey and Judd, we talk Minnesota sports every single day, and we want titles. Damn it, that's all we want.